Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We start today off down at the Fat Lambs again, and we've got a little bit of a different help today. So Georgia is here on work experience for the week, aren't you?
Yeah.
So you're coming on your school work experience, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So she's helping, wants to learn a bit about the sheep this week. And we started off today by splitting any of the ewe lambs that were in with the fat lambs, because we're feeding them. Some of them were meant to be show sheep, but they haven't been, and they're going to be dropped off with the ewe lambs just on grass, as well as the 20 that have been picked out and sold, which leaves us with these. We're going to whale these today and see if we can get some gone. We've been away for 2 weeks. Obviously, I'm married, been on a honeymoon, and we've been to Yorkshire Show, so these have kind of been neglected for 2 weeks, and I'm hoping some are going to be ready to go. Let's see. Hope you enjoy. If you do, don't forget to like, subscribe. As I said before, in here we've got about 20 odd ewe lambs. The ones that are crossbreds, which is Suffolk and Aber black lambs, there's 20 in here with coloured dots on, so you can see purple and blue dots. People have picked them out because they want to buy them for breeding. And then we've got an odd white-faced Clin in here, which were possible show sheep. We just put them in here because they're on feed, so it's just easier than having extra fields that we're feeding sheep. So all these, going back to ewe lambs now, as I said before, they're on entirely off grass. They're looking really well, really happy with that tray load. Drop them off and then we'll get sorting out those fat lambs. Right, so we're after 7 for the local butcher now, and then any more are gonna go off to the other abattoir that we send some off to. So fingers crossed we have a decent batch like last time. We took 35. I think they averaged about £135 a head, which is a bit of a drop from what it has been, but they're only ready once. In my opinion, you get these fat lambs, you can leave them for months on end, waiting for them to be ready. Sorry, waiting for the price to go up, but you carry on feeding them, it's costing you money. You may as well get them gone when they're ready and at their best. We'll start off, we're aiming for anything like 42, 43 kilo plus. First one in, which is actually cade lamb, so not expecting too much from that. 30 kilos start us off. Straight into pen. Go on, Lammy. Yeah, right, they've all been marked ready as green, so they're all fat lambs, so just marking if it was red, but it's ready to go. Right, you in. We've got a few small ones to begin. In you go. Saying that, that's 40 kilo. Not quite there, I'll give that another week or so. Right, go on, let's go. So on that very sped up version of me checking these lambs out, so there's a little bit of a process I'm going through. First of all, we're looking at the weight. So this lamb here is 39.9 kilos, so it's not quite heavy enough to go, but we're going to pretend it's nearly ready to go. So what I'm doing, I'm filling their backs like this, just like that, and what we're trying to do is figure out if it's got a good enough fat coverage and muscle in to see if it can go. So just imagine your knuckle like that. If it's not fit, I'm just gonna get Georgia to hold the camera quick. So if it's not fit, you will feel the spine and it'll feel like knuckles like that. But if it's fitter to go, you'll feel far less of the spine like that. I've said it before in videos, but it was quite a while ago. And it's a really interesting tool to have if you're picking out fat lambs. Another thing I'll say, just because the lamb's 45 kilos, it doesn't mean it's gonna be fit. And just because it's a little lamb at 40 kilos doesn't mean it's not fit. So just feeling that one there, that's fairly well ready. We're not going to let it go though, because in my opinion it needs just a little bit more. And also another tool you can do is just feel their dock, which means their tail. Very similar thing. If you can feel the knuckle in the dock, just like your hand, probably just means it's not got quite enough fat coverage. So we'll let that one out, just like so. There you go, mate. Nice lamb, just needs another week or two. Just like that, that is this week's draw of fat lambs. I think there's approximately 25 there, so I'm happy with that. Another good lot going. You can see there is a mixture of clins, which are the white-headed ones, some Suffolky ones, and then there's some Aber Blacky ones, which are probably ones that look a little bit more Charolais. So we'll load them up. They're going to go tomorrow. Yeah, it's nice to get another draw gone. At this point last year, we actually just sent our I think we just sent our second draw, and in total we'd sent about 25, where when these have gone, we'll have sent 70. So we're ahead of last year. They're growing well. This paddock grazing system is doing the trick. Now they're loaded, we're just giving these a feed. At the moment, these are on the coarse mix from Southwest Lancashire farmers. You can see on here the usual mix that we're on, you can see like that, but the difference is they're not using the crete feeder anymore, so just trough fed. I just find as they get a little bit bigger, they cram into that crete feeder, and it worries me that one's going to suffocate itself or something, so space them out. And also I find if you're calling them to feed every day, they have that appetite to come and eat, whereas sometimes if you just leave them with food all the time, they might just leave it and get bored of it, so keep them keen on the feed. And now we've taken those 25 out, the biggest 25, and also roughly 25-30 ewe lambs. These are probably the smaller ones that are left, and they get more trough space, so they're going to eat a lot better. Now we couldn't time that any better. As soon as we leave the field, the rain has started. Show team in. But if you remember before the show, we picked out quite a few sheep, so I want to reduce these numbers. We've got one more show left this year, so it's plenty enough to get my two favourites in a reserve for each one and leave them in the field, and then the rest can go back where they should be, including the border Leicesters that are in here too.
Go on, mate.
All done. That leaves us with Burwarton show team. One last job. One of the border Leicesters has a bit of a sore chest and a bad foot, so we're just going to flip her over and get that looked at. So as you can see here, it's just got a little bit of a small sore bit. It's probably because she's been lame. As you can see here, she has a bit of scald. It's in there. So she's been on her chest a bit, so which has caused it to go a little bit sore. What we're going to do, pop some blue spray on, sort her feet out, and give her an antibiotic injection too. Hopefully that should do the trick. We'll give her a couple of days, have another look and see how she's doing. And now, sheep are all dropped off, but we have a major problem. That is the drawbar. So we're not moving any more sheep for a while. I think what's happened, you can see the plates there, that's twisted. That's a slight crack in that one, but that's disaligned, so it's obviously twisted and give way just there. Yeah, I think that ceases the end of today's proceedings. Right, so that is all the fat lambs dropped off. Well, 7 of the fat lambs dropped off. And if you saw, there was a Blue Domain Cross Texan there. Fair thing, that isn't mine. That is my brother-in-law's sheep that we're dropping off because he's having some meat back for Tommy's christening. You don't know who Tommy is? That's my little nephew. But the reason I'm here, this is how much rain we have had in the night. Can you see that? 29 mil of rain. So the plan today was going topping, but I think the fields might be slightly wet for that moment, so we'll find something else to get cracking on with. It's July. Come on! Come on! Are you on sheep watch? Are you on sheep watch? No distracting you. Look how wet these fields are again. don't think we're going to be making any more hay anytime soon. So the 2 weeks I've been away, the weather has been pretty much like this. We got George there feeding because we're just going to do a feast leg count. It's pretty much easier than anything. Call them all in to feed, let them feed, and then we'll grab the muck up from behind them. But as I was saying, yeah, 2 weeks, no more hay on the ground, no more haylage on the ground. If it's like this for another week or two, it's going to be serious disaster stations. Pushing the stragglers up that haven't come to feed. Georgia has got a glove at the ready. I've got a bag. What we're going to do is take 20 samples of muck. They'll poo on the floor as they're eating. Then we send that off to the vets in the lab. They'll test it to see if they've got any eggs or worms. I've got a feeling with this group, after filling some of their backs yesterday, a couple may have lost a bit of condition. They were wormed 3 weeks ago, but you never know this time of year. It's very wet, which can bring it on a little bit. I'd rather be safe than sorry, because I don't want these going backwards, because we want to keep them going. And yeah, cutting them down week by week. Sample 1 taken, so we've got, I bet there's over 20 there, isn't there? So we've gone, basically picked up every piece of warm poo we can find. This sounds glorious. It is a glorious job. George is loving it. This is how you teach people to get into farming, get them to pick poo up. But yeah, Gussie is an odd one with mucky bums. I don't think it's the whole group, but I'd just like to know. The sample doesn't feel too bad, as in it's quite solid. So we just have to see. Then we're going to repeat this for the ewe lambs, and we'll get the results later today. Right, skip forward. We are at the A flock, and as you can see, they're getting down the grass. I forgot, I dropped those feces samples off, so they'll get tested, and hopefully we'll get the results later to see if we need to worm those ewes. We've also asked if they could test for fluke, because it's been such a weird weather, and I just think there's something stale about those lambs. You just get a feeling. So we've done that. But yeah, A flock down here, they're getting moved to the field next door, but there is an area at the other end that we just want to fence off so they can't go in it. There's a ditch and stuff, and don't really want to risk that. So these are going to fly through the gateway, and then we're going to hopefully stop them the other end with some fence. Come on! Come on! Go girls! That's the electric fence done. As you can see, this side of the field, it is just covered in weeds, and we're trying to improve that, so we don't really want the sheep in there to spread it back onto the side of the field that's clean. So we fenced it off. It's on, it's working, and we've got what, about 220 ewes in here. So this is A flock shearlings and ewes. Later in the week we're going to go through these hopefully and pick out the cull ewes and what's going to stay for next year. But for now, let them get their heads down. They're enjoying the fresh grass, and it'll give that field, the other side, chance to rest, so they'll just go back in there afterwards. Right, we have some good news. Feast leg counts back. Both the groups don't need worming. The fat lambs, the fat lambs are all okay. They do have a count of 3,000 coxie though. That might sound high to some, but coxie is very, very, very small worms. You need a much higher count until you start worrying about it. So that leaves us as, so that basically means today is done. Loads of little jobs done. The weather has not been with us with all that rain, but looking at the forecast, it's going to be good the next few days. Hope you enjoyed, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.